not just give students the opportunity to practice reading, but to teach and to implement some strategies that will help them develop those skills. And obviously ACT is a part of that, but it's not our singular goal. But we have also incorporated ACT prep materials, and in particular our junior team, the U.S. History team, has really worked hard all year to make sure that that's a part of their curriculum. So yeah, our students take the test tomorrow.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Dr. Waller mentioned our commitment to civic education, and we believe in the importance of that throughout all of our classes, and also communicating and collaborating with other departments about civic knowledge and civic education. But one of the key pieces that we take pride in is the community partnerships that we have, and teaching our students the importance of collaborating within a diverse community. And so you see elements of that with the Veterans Day presentation that we put on every year in the district that rotates between the two buildings. This year we had the pleasure of hosting it here at Lakes High School. With it also being an election year, we had the opportunity to train, last November actually, we trained, in the fall we trained election judges, but we also trained again here in the spring, or in the winter I should say, I think it was January. We were able to train 30 election judges from both schools that then had the opportunity to serve as election judges during the primary elections that took place. Both schools are active members of the Democracy School Network, which is a network that now includes over 70 schools across the state of Illinois that focus on the spread of civic education. We have the opportunities to get our students out into the communities with things like our religious forum. And I forget about this because I think I've become so accustomed to it, but every time you come into a school board meeting, there's usually a crowd of students that join. And part of the reason is because we emphasize that in our government course, that they need to go to a community meeting that is hosted by elected officials, such as yourself. And not all of them choose to come to this meeting. Some of them, what's kind of cool that has developed is this was where they all came, because I remember the first years that we did this and students were sitting on the floor and we had no room for them. But they've now started to branch out and they attend village meetings and other meetings as well. And so it's a great opportunity for them to get out and experience democracy, and so that's something that's really important to us.
One of my favorite things is to interview them before meetings about school boards, and I always ask them how much they think school board members are compensated. And the average answer I get is between $60,000 a year and $350,000 a year.
That's great.
But tonight we had a correct response from admin. He said $0.
Excellent.
He knew that they were public servants, elected public servants. So.
Excellent. Very good. And then as we're going to discuss here in a little bit, we have an incredible staff of educators. Andrew and Megan actually have big shoes to fill, because we're going for 2 years in a row of the Lake County Educator of the Year. We have the pleasure at Lakes High School of having the Lake County Educator of the Year in our social studies department, is Christine Zucker. But Christine is just one of a number of incredible educators that we have. And what makes them so important to our district and to our department is how they have embraced teaching diverse students from diverse backgrounds, but also diverse learning experiences and diverse learning styles. And the emotional intelligence that they try to instill on their students. And we're gonna focus on that a little bit here with our next set of information.
So we did choose to highlight the work of our teachers based on some panorama data that we were able to look at, and a couple of things really jumped out at Grant and me regarding the work that our teachers do, and they align with some portrait of a graduate components as well. And so embracing diversity, when we looked at, and this is data that is specific to social studies staff across the district, but we had social studies staff. 94% of our staff reported that they are extremely, or get exactly what the descriptors are, but the top 2 favorable responses, 94% of our social studies educators said that they would be comfortable incorporating new material from different backgrounds. That was actually one of the reasons that we did look at changing our global studies curriculum. We wanted to make sure that it truly represented a global studies curriculum. And so with this new curriculum, there's opportunities to bring in a good deal of history from Asia, a good deal of history from Africa, and just making sure that our students do get a true global perspective. Our U.S. history teachers do an incredible job. There are a lot of Illinois state mandates that ask them to incorporate material from any number of groups of people in our nation's history. And so our teachers are really not only skilled at that, but they're comfortable doing that, and that shows through to our students. 88% of our students, or I'm sorry, 88% of our staff said that they would feel very comfortable teaching students from different religions. And that is also part of the work that our freshman team does with the Religious Forum. And then talking about race, it's a difficult subject in today's world. And a couple of years ago, Grant and I spent a good deal of time providing some targeted PD to our departments about how to facilitate some difficult conversations. And we're really happy and proud of the work that they've done to embrace a lot of those strategies. And 82% of them said that they are comfortable engaging their students in those conversations and giving their students a safe place to learn and to talk. We're really proud of the work they've done to embrace that diversity.
One of the other things we've really tried to do with any curricular changes that we've made is trying to push our students, but pushing them in a way that they embrace challenge and they embrace the hard, embrace difficulty, and know that it's possible to overcome challenges to succeed. And so the data that's on our right-hand side here about developing emotional intelligence is really something that's prideful for us. Engaging students who are typically not motivated, our teachers said that 88% of them reported back favorably that they felt comfortable engaging students who aren't typically motivated to learn in a traditional classroom. And then supporting student growth mindset, 82% reported favorably. Again, I'd love for that to be 100%, but I also appreciate that our teachers are understanding that challenge is good for our students, and embracing the difficulties of learning is going to help them to become stronger people.
Just some, are you up first?
Sure, I can keep going.
So
I already mentioned our Veterans Day Assembly, but we just wanted to highlight some of the things that our departments are involved in. Our Veterans Day Assembly, to me, is a highlight every year of the Social Studies Department. No matter which building it's being put on at, the speakers, the student involvement, the student engagement in the assembly is just a highlight for me. And then, as I said, we had the pleasure, we have a great relationship with the Lake County Elections Board, and they contact us and say, hey, we want to come and train students, and the students think that we have a lot to do with it, and we really don't. Ann reserves a room, I reserve a minibus or a bus, and we get the kids to Antioch, and we do it in the dance room. And they sit there for about 3 hours, and they get trained to be election judges, but they learn about that process. And I just, again, going back to what I said previously, I think it's important for us to demonstrate that there's more than just what goes on in this building.
Ann, can you explain what's happening here?
Yes, Ann?
I can. So that is just highlighting some of the great instructional work that our teachers do and opportunities that they create for our students then to engage in. That is a lesson from one of our AP European history classes in which the students were studying absolutist monarchs from the 1600s in Europe. And they were tasked with creating something called a flat absolute. And they had to represent these various absolutist monarchs on a piece of paper, but then this one is from Ms. Craig. But I know that she and Mr. Rose work really closely together, so I'm sure there's a similar picture out there from Lakes. But anyway, they had to create these flat absolutes in which they labeled various parts of the absolutist monarch's body to represent, like, how did they wield power, and what were some of their thoughts, and like how did they use religion, so things like that.
Flat absolutes.
Flat absolutes, yeah.
Absolutes.
So anyway, just a lot of great things happening within our classrooms as well as in the community. A lot of collaboration that takes place among the students students, a lot of critical thinking and creativity that they're given the opportunity to engage in, as well as take a variety of AP courses, be courageous and accept some of those challenges. And yeah, so we're just really proud of the work that they do.
For us as a department moving forward, we have two areas of focus for today. One is to continue to implement reading strategies that align with the ACT test. I know that for our teachers, you start talking about standardized tests and it gets a little bit, we're not teaching to a test, but we do believe in the importance of developing those reading comprehension strategies. And so we're trying to incorporate those more, not just in our junior U.S. history class, but with our younger level students as well. And our teachers have done a really great job of experimenting. And so we want to continue that, to have that start to influence our instruction and our assessment a little bit more.
Our second area of focus is something that we have just started to work on this year, but have sort of a 3-year plan tentatively in place, that we want to use data to inform our instruction and our assessment more than we have. So our goal next year is that by the end of the school year, we will have worked together at least twice, where our teachers will use unit summative assessment data to design and implement 2 new instructional strategies. One of the things that Grant and I feel really strongly about is keeping our focus on instruction, and so not getting too far away from that in any one year. We want to make sure we bring it back to what our teachers are really, really good at, and that is quality instruction. So we want to just get better at being leaders, to use the data to help them make wise instructional decisions.
And as Jackie said, we appreciate the support, whether it's professional development that we've been able to offer our teachers, resources, and whatever it may be. We're grateful for the support that the school district provides for us. So thank you, and we're happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Questions?
So sorry.
No, go ahead.
I appreciate the civic mindedness that we're putting into our students. I recall being in high school and that was not, yes, that was a long time ago, but I remember. Not a lot of civic mindedness coming out of high school back then, and so I could really appreciate that. Even going so far as election judging, that kind of thing. It's huge. It's very huge to understand that, hey, there's a big world out there and you're a part of it. Let's get involved. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that both schools' commitment to the Democracy School Network has played a big part in that. Lace has been a member of that network since 2012, Antioch since 2015. And just that the focus on civic education has been really important for us. It's kind of become our thing, and that's we believe in the importance of it.
It's huge.
Thank you.
I would say as an election judge, I run into kids from both schools every year, and I was very happy to see them at the primaries, and I will tell you, I'm impressed with them, so thank you for giving them that opportunity.
And I'll piggyback by saying, I appreciate what the entire social studies department is doing, not only in the classroom, but outside the classroom, in every aspect with your students. And just like in the special ed department, when you go to the veterans presentation at each school, and you see the student engagement and the respect that the students show all of our veterans, both present and past, it is something that tugs at your heart. So I appreciate a great presentation, and I'm going to tell you, Ann, you made Grant nervous. You looked at his watch. 10 minutes is just a guideline. He was watching his watch while you were talking.
I want to make sure. Alan told us it was a really strict 10, so I wanted to make sure. I had my timer set and everything.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Now, how many government students are still here? I see some here. Also some here.
Only the best.
How many?
I was going to give you the answer.
For your benefit, government students that are here, thank you for staying. And just to let you know, this is a government meeting. It is not an open forum. But because I'm sitting at the head of the table, I can talk a little bit more. So I'm just going to tell you what the next section, which is really we get into the hardcore business of our Board of Education meeting now. And the very first thing we do is the consent agenda. And this is where an opportunity for the board to approve or disapprove of a number of recommendations from our administration with one vote, one vote for all of them, before we get to the hardcore things in the business office. And those are routine things, so I just wanted to let you know that, so when you go back to class, whether it be tomorrow or Thursday, and your teacher says, did you learn about the consent agenda, you could say, I think so. Because you may not, just from one sitting, okay? So the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are adopted by one motion unless a member of the Board of Education or the superintendent requests that an item be removed and voted upon separately. Consent agenda items are matters that the board and the superintendent agree are routine in nature and should be voted on in one motion to conserve time. In tonight's consent agenda, we have the following items. We have the approval of the regular meeting minutes from March 19th, the approval of the closed session meeting minutes of March 19th. We have approval of personnel, hiring of administrators. We have hiring of certified staff. We have hiring of long-term substitute staff. We have increment positions being hired. We have intern positions being hired. We have volunteer positions, and we also have reclassification. We also have resignations, and we have retirements. Also, we have requests for folks that need extended leaves of absence. We also have in the business department, or in the money department, the approval of bills and payroll under Funds 10, which is education, Fund 20, which is building, Fund 40, which is transportation, Fund 50, which is the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund, Social Security Fund, and Fund 8, which is the tort fund, kind of insurance. We also have under the consent agenda FOIA requests. FOIA is Freedom of Information Act requests. We had 6, and they've all been responded to. So at this point, I would ask the members of the Board of Education or the superintendent if they'd like anything removed from the consent agenda prior to approval. No one? Okay, I would entertain a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Who made that motion? A motion by Mr. Pagney, second by Ms. Dixon. We'll do a roll call vote, beginning with Ms. Dixon,
Yes.
Ms. Simpson,
Yes?
Mr. Pagney,
Yes.
Ms. Pritchard,
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs.
Yes.
Wayne Sopsek votes yes, that motion passes. All right, now I'm gonna ask if Dr. Berry would like to introduce one of the folks that was on the consent agenda tonight, because it'd be a special introduction.
Yes, absolutely. There was a lot of things you voted on, and one of the things you're gonna see tonight is one of the names that you voted on. Allison, you wanna come on up? Yeah, some members of the Board of Education seems fitting on tonight, in which we heard the SPED presentation, to introduce our newest addition to the SPED department at Antioch Community High School. I'll introduce Allison Schmidt, who is going to be our new SPED coordinator. But again, going back to earlier tonight, talking about the big game, I think I didn't stop smiling for several days. The next day I was texting my buddies and showing them videos in the world of education, just how proud I was. And so we were very proud to have somebody new coming on to steer the ship at Antioch. Before I do that though, I do want to publicly acknowledge Andrew and thank him for calming the waters a little bit as we tried to work through some leadership issues at Antioch Community High School. We're happy to have found an answer, and that answer is Allison Schmidt. So this is Dr. Allison Schmidt. Very proud to introduce her. Currently, she is the principal of Claremont School. She started, I want to say, 17 years ago, 18 years ago. In education at Woodland as a structured learning teacher. We started the process at the beginning of March. She very quickly rose to the top of the list of candidates. We had a number of qualified candidates to consider, and it was clear based upon our interview process with 2 separate rooms of teachers and an admin and district admin that Allison was going to be our choice. due in large part, you'll be able to see this over the course of her work with us here, her genuine concern for students and staff and parents. Again, being a principal at Claremont School, she works with parents, she works with staff, she does the heavy lifting already, that is a full-time administrator. So we're very fortunate to have her. The other thing that's an interesting fact is that in a couple of years, right, she will be a late parent.
Well, very soon, he is bound to be an 8th grader soon. So
Okay,
we are becoming.
so there's the principal late. So we are very fortunate to have her in our community as well as our school community. This is Dr. Allison Schmidt.
But I am so excited and honored. It is as a community member to bring back something new, to be part of where my kids go is so exciting. And I've been with CEDAW for 10 years, and to come learn something new and give back to our kids is just sheer joy and excitement, and a little scary because change is scary, but I think it's gonna be wonderful, so thank you.
Allison,
I'm
can I
honored.
ask you real quick? I know
Yes.
we didn't plan this, but can you tell us about Claremont? Because it's a pretty amazing facility.
I could talk to you about Claremont on Google Pace.
Yeah.
So Claremont is one of the CEDAW schools. We are the medically fragile building. So we house 3-year-olds all the way through 22. We also house our transition program, which is our 18 to 22-year-olds. You guys have some similar programming, but we still have a good amount of 117 transition kids. And it is incredible. We opened up to all board members, so if you'd love to see it, please come take tours, and I'm there till the 30th of June. I'm happy to take you on a tour. Whoever fills my shoes will do it as well. It is something like you just don't know until you've seen it.
That's pretty amazing.
So it is, our class sizes are much smaller. About 85% of our kids are wheelchair bound. They are, about 100% of my kids are nonverbal in traditional terms, but we do have AAC device. They are nonverbal, doesn't mean quiet, they're very loud. They make it known how they're feeling, but it is something really special to serve the 1%. I've now had 17 years serving the 1%, and I'm so excited to see the rest of the spectrum of special ed, because there's so much more than just that. But I do encourage everyone to go see Claremont, especially since it sounds like the big game really touched a lot of hearts. Please come see your kids. If they're your 117 kids, we will take you into classrooms, we can see your kids. But that way you guys have a full spectrum of what we can provide.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, I'm excited.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is the business office, so I'll turn the floor over to our Associate Superintendent.
Okay, so on the way in, I realized we don't have to approve anything in this section, but there's a whole lot of information. So here we go. The first item, as always, we get our tax extension dollars from Lake County. So we received those on March 20th. So if you click on that link there of the 2025 tax extension PDF, I just have a chart there where it breaks down the funds. And remember last November, we passed the levy where we had a projected extension of $47,383,200. So that was what we thought we were going to get versus the next column of the actual extension of the $47,389,475.10. So overall, very, very happy with those numbers. It's about like a 3.6% increase from last year to this year's extension dollars. And additionally, you don't see this on here, but I did put it in the description that this, we will also get CEDAW IMRF money as we do every year, which we just turn around in and pay them. And then also you might recall, I think this is like year 5-ish or so, that we have the Property Tax Advisory Board, or that recapture money from appeals and such that we get back, and that's just under $264,000. Which is actually a slight decrease of about $15,000, but that has grown significantly over the years. So just overall very happy with those extension numbers, and we will start seeing that revenue come in here in the next couple months. The next thing, I'm going to turn over to Mr. Chris Malik, as he is our guru on health insurance. So voila. Yes. Yes.
So this is informational as well, but it's big informational. This week, we're gonna be reallocating $1 million into our reserves. We are part of the Lakes Region Benefit Cooperative, and those 6 schools within that from the area, we get to pool some claims with them. It helps when we go out to market on rates. But as you all are probably aware, insurance costs have been going up, and with us this year, the usage has been going up as well. So those reserves that we've had for several years have been depleted. And to be fair to the other schools in the district that have some money in there, we want to be making sure that we have enough money in there. They typically ask for anywhere between 60 and 180 days of reserves, so putting that $1 million in there should give us a decent amount of reserves in there, and it should help us as we go to market for next year, having a little bit more money in there. The usage being higher this year, we've had some unfortunate events, but sometimes it's been happy things. We've had a lot of little eagles and little sequoias this year. But I think that's a little bit of the environment right now with rising costs. We've seen RX costs go up. We've seen just regular medical costs going up. So when that's compiled with that usage, you're gonna see some of those reserves get depleted. Not to talk about other districts in the co-op necessarily, but this is a problem throughout Illinois. We've seen some of the message boards, whether it be business or HR, having some of the same concerns about this, and some of the other districts in our area are feeling this pinch. So it's $1 million going over there. Nothing you have to do as a board, but just informational and something we keep our eye on all the time, because that's a big piece. You look at a school district, salaries are a huge piece, and benefits are the other big expense. So we're aware of all that, and we really appreciate the partners that we work with in that co-op. And they do a good job of, we've been meeting more regularly, because as this, issue isn't going away, we want to make sure that we're staying on top of it. We have very good partners in that co-op as well.
And additionally, right now, as Chris mentioned, we're meeting and we're constantly meeting with the co-op about our funds. But as you know, we usually come in May, that's hopefully the plan, if not June, as far as coming to you with new insurance rates and what that means for the following year. So as you've seen that before, we're working through that to see what options we have.
For the benefit of our newer board members, could you better explain the co-op, our insurance co-op, how it really works?
Yeah, so if we were to go just as District 117, you're looking at roughly 270 members plus some families. When you go to market with that size, you're going to be subject a little bit to some pricing sensitivities. When you're able to pool that with District 41's one of our members, grants a member, you take a little bit more size. As the co-op calls it, belly buttons. You take more belly buttons to market, you're a little bit more competitive in pricing. What we also do is we pool basically 100,000 to 275,000, give or take, on the year. So if District 117 had a really bad year, an unfortunate year where a lot of our employees or families had some unfortunate events, we wouldn't be hit as hard. We're able to mitigate that risk and spread it across all the districts. And just like Evans is a very small district, it's 40 members in our co-op. If heaven forbid they were hit with anything, 30 members of their staff were hit with something, they wouldn't necessarily have all of that risk in 1 year. So it makes us more competitive with pricing, and it also spreads that risk out.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Okay, so actually the next 3 items are all first readings. I mentioned these contracts during the Facilities and Finance Committee meeting we had in early March. So the first one here is the Security Services contract. We went out to bid and had 4 different companies submit bids on March 12th. You see their names there, Andy Frame, Patrol Protect Secure, Permar, and then Prudential Defense Solutions. Basically, I had them submit an hourly rate, and we looked at hours as far as wanting 16 total security staff in both buildings, so 8 in each building. That's what we want to have. We've been below that. We've asked for, you might recall, 7 to 8. We can't get there. So we've said we want 8, and we put in the bid specifications that if you can't get 8, we have the right to go and find other staff and security to make sure we get 8, to make sure we get to the number we want. But they submitted their hourly rates and their pricing, and you can see that per MAR is the lowest at, they even split it into $25.10 for the lead and $23.75 for that hourly rate. I said in the bid specs that you can either separate it out or do a combined rate. It just depended on the company, but either way, you can see that per MAR is the lowest with those hourly rates. Now, comparing what we have this year, this is actually slightly less as far as what we're paying out now. With overall calculations comparing apples to apples and hourly, this would be about a $25,000 decrease overall. And one thing we're doing too that we're hoping to see a decrease in the spending here is we're going to have a flex person in our buildings, and instead of Monday, Friday, it's like Tuesday through Saturday, to hopefully help cover those weekend events, so we're not paying so much overtime. So that's one thing we've done with the bid specifications. So this is a 3-year contract, if I didn't mention that, and it'll start July 1st. So that's security. The next one is a little bit more complicated. This is the single small group transportation contract. This is transportation that takes our small, either single students or small group students, so maybe 3 to 5, to different off-site locations. So some of the locations that Jackie and Andrew provided in their presentation. Also the Life Skills Academy students and their work site locations, and then our homeless students. So you can see there then that there's 4 different companies that submitted their calculations. And as I mentioned on our board update, they were vast in difference. But I went through the calculations and I said, you can submit your calculations based on what would I see in a bill. How do you bill me? Whether it's, some companies do it differently, whether it's just a flat rate for a minimum time that they're in the vehicle. So let's say 2 hours, or sometimes it's mileage, or sometimes it's a combination of both. And then I said, you can combine routes if you want, depending on the situation. And we know that, that's something that Jackie and I, Andrew, others would talk through with any company, because while it might be great that we can put 2 students in the same vehicle to a CEDAW location, maybe you don't want those same two students in the vehicle. So it's just going through different things like that. But they were given certain route information for those off-site locations, work sites and everything from this year, and some a little bit tweaking with our work sites, but overall given this information saying, please provide these calculations. So while security will be per MAR because it's the lowest, most responsive, meaning they're the lowest submittal, plus they have met all bid requirements. You might remember in the past, for those of you who are here, that for transportation that's not necessarily the case. It does not have to be the lowest. You can take a look at, of course, number 1, safety, should always be safety. But then overall, what's the service that we're going to provide to our students that we are comfortable with? So while the first company there, Everdriven, is the lowest, we wanted to also take a look at some different factors that played into our bid specifications and why we're making the recommendation for actually to go to first student. I have them listed there, but one of the bid specs, and again, I think you might recall if you were here with our regular education transportation contract, that we're hyper-focused on making sure that we had a facility that was close to us. And so that bid specification was that we wanted that company to be within 15 miles of our boundaries, of our school boundaries. That company does not. They just have a different model, I'm not saying that it's bad, and they're definitely safe. It's just that something that we're not used to. Along with another thing that is different is they don't have their own vehicle fleets. So you might know that you're out in the community and you see Safeway, you see Topline, you see Lakeside, some of those different vehicles. their vehicles, they go out and find drivers, and those drivers are using their personal vehicles. So it's like, we described it as, we talked about it as an Uber service kind of thing. So between not having something close, as far as facility, when I talked to some of the references, they were kind of in that same boat, that they didn't have some districts around them, and so their wait times sometimes were not good, especially if something happened with an emergency or a driver called in or whatever it might be. So again, going back to not having a site, and was a concern that Jackie and I and Andrew, her team, our team talked about. Along with another thing here that came up was just some communication issues between family, students, and staff. So while, again, I understand that Ever-Driven is the lowest, and that's a significant difference, we do feel that the recommendation will be, at the May board meeting, will be for First Student. That's a 3-year contract, because they will provide a safe transportation experience for our staff and our families.
And for the benefit of the board members, this transportation is required by law. It's not a luxury that we just provide.
Right.
Because they're public students and they have to go off-site, we have to provide the transportation. My concerns on the first one with the low bid also was insurance. Who carries it? Is it the company or is it the
They
individual?
did provide a certificate of insurance, so they did provide that. And I even asked for higher specifications or amounts, and they were able to get that. But I think still concerning, I know it's talking with references, some of the different school districts, they had families that just wouldn't get in personal vehicles.
Yeah.
It makes sense. That makes
Especially with the classification of the student
Yeah.
too.
Right, right. It's again providing that safe, comfortable experience for our students and families and our parents, so. So that will be coming again in May. Okay, next one is the grounds custodial and maintenance contract. So again, talked about HES and this contract back at the finance facilities meeting. This is something, a contract that we can secure through a cooperative purchasing organization called Equalis. So we worked with HES and their staff, Ken and I, the director of facilities, met with them several times to go through what we're currently paying, our staff, what that all means, again, with our custodials, maintenance, and grounds. And we do have some other front desk security, some monitors in our buildings, and then of course our district manager for the account and her assistant. So right now we have 40.5 FTE. That's a lot for HES that provides those services. So with sitting down, having those conversations, talking about our needs, the services they provide, I think some things that we are adding to the contract is that we will add 3.5 additional custodial to the contract, along with the use of what's called FlowPath. So that's basically a software program that what we're using now, we haven't been very happy with, and this is something that is theirs that we can utilize for like work orders and equipment inventory and equipment maintenance. And we can use this. That would cost roughly $15,000 per year that they will not charge us. We will also get next year $78,000 worth of new equipment. And then also, just like I discussed with the security contract, we're going to shift some Monday, Wednesday to Tuesday, Saturday to hopefully help with some of that overtime. So even with those, I would call them perks. I think they're definitely additions and positive for District 117. We're looking at a savings of about $217,000 in a year. So very happy with that. So this will be a 3-year contract. You can see it's broken down into 1, 2, and 3. Those are 3% increases. And then we will have an option to extend for 2 more years, and those additional years would be based on CPI, not to exceed 5%, just like we do with our budget. So that's first reading, HES.
We're good.
Okay. And then lastly is capital projects update. Overall, it's fun watching, I think it's fun watching the district office, and what's happening down there. The, you know, it might get a little bit
Your
loud.
office is on the other side.
Oh, my office is on the other side, so yes, ma'am, that's Chris. But it's going very, very well. Stuckey, as always, is a great company to work with. You know, we've worked with them on several different projects, so they're doing a wonderful job, and we think that they'll be done sooner than what we anticipated. So that's going very, very well. The baseball cage is still in its works. They'll be back out. It's just been now so wet, right? So it's getting back out there hopefully by the end of the week, but then again, I think it's supposed to rain 2 more days. So we'll get there. And then just to update, I did put in the chart there, I updated the total for the rooftop units, so the phase 2 in that chart. It's a little misleading because that total is the total cost, where remember, we're paying only part of it in this fiscal year. So the other part will go next fiscal year. And I'll explain all that in more detail when we get into, remember, next month will be the tentative amended budget that I will present, and then we'll do a final. So it's like kind of doing round 2 of the budget like we did in the fall for the original budget, so. I think I did make one payment, smaller payment, I think it was a little over $11,000 for the district office, so that's the only added. So, that's all I have.
Okay.
All right.
No approvals.
Any questions?
That's weird.
by the board?
I was in today, because I talked to Ryan, so I
Yeah.
took a tour, he took me
Yeah,
through.
yeah.
It sounds really nice once it gets all done.
It's amazing what knocking down some walls and
Yeah.
taking out some closets, I mean, it's big.
It looks so huge.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really sharp looking.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is governance, and we have student handbook. Is that Dr. Walden?
I'll actually intro it, and then
Okay.
give Jory and Mike and Jackie a chance to think if they want to weigh in, because I know you're closer to these committees. But we have committees every year that meet at both schools with students and staff, and our deans are key people on this, and the principals lead the process. Where basically, they kind of do what we do with policy, where they review any kind of new legislation or laws in school code, and they tweak our student handbook. I don't think there were major changes, but we ask the board to approve this every year for the subsequent upcoming years. So, Mike, Jory, Jackie, anything you want to add?
Yeah, the assistant principals of student services do a great job, and the deans lead these annual meetings, maybe 2-3 times a year.
2-3, parents included.
Parents,
Students as well, and so it's interesting, I guess, to see the, the range of, how people feel about things, so, it was good, it's good to have that sort of component in that, handbook revision.
Yeah, very little changes.
Yeah,
No.
like, agreed. We didn't have anything major.
Thank you.
Next item.
The next one is the approval of the final calendar. Let me make sure we didn't have to take action on that student handbook.
No, it's a
Don't,
first
right?
reading.
Yeah, it's first reading.
So we'll take action next meeting on the student handbook.
Excellent. And the same thing for our calendar, right?
No, I think they're doing that today.
Got to get caught up on the agenda here. Here we go. All right. So this is just the projected calendar for this current year. The board's approving that our day count is what we projected, and we project using one e-learning day. Here we are on April 7th. We hopefully will not have any more inclement weather that will require any emergency or e-learning days. So with that, I would recommend that the board approve the public school calendar for school year 25-26 as presented.
And with that recommendation, I would entertain a motion that the board approve the finals 2025-26 calendar as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Pritchard, second by Mr. Pagney. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote beginning with Ms. Ibsen,
Yes.
Mr. Pagney,
Yes.
Ms. Pritchard,
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs,
Yes.
Ms. Dixon,
Yes.
Wayne Sopside votes yes. That motion passes. Joint annual conference.
Yeah, this one is not an action, it's just a prize that we do every year to notify that we are planning to attend the joint annual conference, November 20 to 22, 2026. We've also submitted a proposal to present for the third year in a row, very highly acclaimed presentation. We do not know if we've been selected yet, so I will update the board when we hear. So anything else you want to share about the conference?
Is it highly acclaimed?
It's highly acclaimed and highly attended. We have videos to prove it.
I've been looking
Kind
for
of obnoxious
I've been
videos.
looking for the acclamations.
We were on the cover of the ISB School Board Journal.
I guess
you
we
recall.
had one.
The cover?
I'm not sure if it was highly.
I'll take it personally if we're not selected, by the way.
Wayne's more modest than me, apparently.
I thought we were highly acclaimed. You had a big house.
Thank
We had
you.
fun, yeah. And I
Yeah.
didn't go on stage.
Yeah.
So with that, superintendent's report.
Superintendent's report.
So Mike and Jory, Antioch, Lakes, who would like to go first?
All right,
Yes.
ladies, we'll go.
Alright, so for some athletic updates, all sports have season starts that are impacted by the weather, snow, rain, and the shelter in place are all things that we have seen this year. The softball team is now 6-1 after beating Richmond Burton in the home opener last night and is currently ranked number 4 in Class 3A. They opened the conference schedule with a game against Grant tonight. The boys lacrosse team is at a great start and is 2-1 after last night's loss to Cary Grove.
Okay, now for some activities and clubs updates. The Antioch Performing Arts program returned from the trip to New York over spring break, and judging by the posts that I've seen by a lot of my peers, it looks like everyone had a good time. And there was only a minor delay on the trip home. And for our spring musical, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, everything is coming together, set, all the lines are being memorized, costumes are being sewn, and a lot of the students are putting in some really great work into this production, and I'm really excited. It will be held on the 23rd, 24th, and 25th at 7 p.m. And then there will be a showing on the 26th, that Sunday, at 2 p.m. We're also excited to announce that same week our first ever Antioch Culture Fest, which is hosted by our ACHS Democracy School Committee, which is also in charge of stuff like election judge and voter registration and the Veterans Day stuff. And this event is coming up soon on April 24th, which is at 7 p.m. on that Friday showing, or right before our 7 p.m. showing of Joseph. And the event will start at 5 p.m. or 5 to 6 p.m. So hope to see you guys there, maybe. And tickets for our May 9th prom at the Grand Geneva end this Friday. And the theme is The Great Gatsby. We're looking forward to it.
All right.
I will let Nick take over, and he will explain where the other two school ambassadors are.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually.
So,
Not right away, it's gonna be suspenseful.
The varsity soccer, so for athletic updates, the varsity soccer team defeated Prairie Ridge 1-0 on Monday night. Great start to the season. They're currently playing at Warren Township tonight. They look to win a tough tournament this Thursday and Saturday against Lake Zurich, Glenbrook North, and Hersey High School. The boys varsity tennis team played at Crystal Lake Central on Monday and won the match 4-3 and for a solid first non-conference win of the season. The boys and girls track and field teams had numerous athletes compete at the Illinois Indoor Championships on March 28th. State qualifiers include Isabella Aya, Bryn Garnier, Kylie Smith, excuse me if I pronounce this name wrong, Kaylee Mathino, Evelyn Belcher, Will McCure, Dylan Gates, Jordan Phelan, Lily Selvig, Michaela Williams, Cooper Summy, and Vanessa Wild. Out of those qualifiers, Bryn Garnier got 6th place in the pole vault event, Kaylee Mathino got 7th place in high jump, and William McCure is now a state champion, beating his personal record at the championship. He cleared 16 feet and 1 inch and is now the second highest pole vaulter in Lakes history.
Nice.
Lakes Lacrosse had a huge win last night over McHenry, and Mrs. Bowen came to watch. It was cold, but it was nice seeing Miss Bowen stay till the end. As the current, As the current goalie and captain of the team, it was nice to come out with a satisfying win, 14-5. Hopefully more board members can come out and support as well. For activities and club updates, the National Honor Society is hosting their 2nd annual color run on April 11th, and all profits will be donated to the American Red Cross. We also honored FCCLA with a state walk between 2nd and 3rd periods today. Annie Burgart, Jade Gillespie, Ro Gillespie, and Lily Steffen, along with coaches Mrs. O'Grady and Mrs. Wida, will be leaving right after the ACT on Wednesday to head to Springfield to compete in the FCCLA state competition in the charcuterie board preparation.
Alright.
And then they eat it all.
Lakes and Antioch students in AP Environmental Science are currently on a field trip to Spence Farms. Our other two student ambassadors, Lily Kadelka and John Rius, are headed there right now. We watched a movie about the work that is done on the farm. The documentary, called Sustainable, features Marty, Travis, and his family, with whom my teacher, Mr. Austin, is very close with, operate a 160-acre farm. This film shows their transition to sustainable farming that supplies over 200 Chicago stores and restaurants, and we covered sustainability agriculture in our previous units in AP class. That's all.
Well done. Alright, nice.
Wonderful. Jory, Mike, anything to add?
No, I think you said it all.
I have a few quick items I'm going to take a little bit out of order. First, Dr. Waller, you can help me with this if I get this wrong, but I just want to encourage our students at home to get a good night's sleep and a good breakfast. We got our ACT tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
And then freshmen take pre-ACT 9.
Good.
Sophomores take pre-ACT 10.
Correct.
Excellent. Anything else you want to add about tomorrow? Big day.
Well, I just think that our staff and our students have worked incredibly hard all year long, and you heard Grant and Ann talk about the fact that, we teach content, but like all students benefit from showing understanding and comprehension on skills that really transcend high school, and so that's why kids want to, really give their best tomorrow, and I have every bit of confidence that our students will give their best tomorrow. So definitely appreciate everything that all of the building leaders, Jory and her assistant principal team, and Mike and his assistant principal team, as well as all the staff who are proctoring. It's a heavy lift, and so it's a lot of work, and I appreciate all of our staff for the hard work they do.
Absolutely. My next item is I want to celebrate our staff members who are nominated for Lake County Educator of the Year. As we shared earlier, we had a couple here in the house. So we're incredibly proud to announce them. Thank you to Dr. Berry and Ms. Bowen that ran the process at your schools to nominate these people. We basically looked at our portrait of graduate competencies and kind of reflected on exceptional service to the district and staff members that truly embodied both. So I'm going to read their category and their names, and then we're going to cheer for them to be the countywide winners. So our classroom high school teacher is Whitney Walsh from Antioch. Our classroom diverse learner teacher is Ms. Megan Garcia from Lakes. We saw her earlier and heard all about her. She's tremendous. Our school administrator is Mr. Andrew Saketa in the school administrator category. You saw him present earlier. Phenomenal. Student support personnel, Taylor Travers from Antioch. We heard her name earlier in the meeting. Educational service personnel, Marta Castaneda from HES, tremendous HES employee. And then in our early career educator category, Mr. Jake Mitchell from here at Lakes. So excited to go to the big dinner with them in May and cheer them on as they're honored countywide. Second to last thing is we're 1 week away from our second community meeting for our Portrait of a Graduate. We had a great meeting 2 or 3 weeks ago with a large group of community members, parents, students to get feedback on these competencies of our Portrait of a Graduate. We did presentations with students. All of our student ambassadors were there presenting, so thank you for the late night. And that committee had a lot of homework between that March 13th meeting and our meeting next Tuesday, which was to reflect on everything they heard from our students and come back with their experiences about which competencies they hear a lot about that we're doing well on and which ones we can do better on. So that's going to be next Tuesday, so we're really excited about next Tuesday. And finally, we would like to honor our student ambassadors. So we would like to have them come up and take a photo with the board. If you have any guests that you can introduce and have photos with the board along with you. We have a plaque for you, and we have a cord that you can wear at graduation. I just want to thank you so much because this is a big dedication of time. We joked about how school board members do not get paid as much as students think. They get paid $0. You also do not get paid $0. So you might want to tell your friends that because they seem really confused. They might think you're making a lot of money to be in this role. But we appreciate your perspective, always reporting out on your schools, and then the informal feedback you've given us between meetings, and then certainly your participation. Going way back to January, we met and had lunch about how you could help us give feedback on our Portrait of Graduate Competency, which continues to be an ongoing project into next Tuesday. So we're going to bring up one at a time, introduce you, give you your plaque and your cord, and take a picture. Does that sound good?
And I'd like to thank each of you for the dedication that you've given, for the representation of your student bodies. For the time that you've given, you didn't have to give this time. I mean, you could have been doing something else, you could be doing homework. But, and also, please extend the thanks to the ambassadors that are missing tonight. You know, we certainly thank all of you for what you've done, and it does make a difference. It makes a big difference, and we appreciate the time, effort, and your energy, and your knowledge, and your support. So thank you.
Excellent. We'll start with Antioch, Dr. Berry, and then where do we want to take this forward? Maybe just kind of gather up here in front of the screens. Is that good? Maybe we should come out in front. So come out in the middle. Board members, you want to come stand in the middle? We do it one at a time.
On your head.
That's my suggestion. Gonna get caught in the trap.
Are you gonna be promoted?
Because they're at the farm. Which is way fun.
So we're going to do these first. Come on up.
Doing individually, right? Doing Denise first?
We'll let Wayne do first.
I mean, like us as a whole.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. I gotta get over here so I can see Sandy. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Good job.
Oh, yeah.
Nice job.
1, 2, 3. Do you want to go there?
You want to introduce your parents?
We're gonna get a picture.
You want to introduce your parents here?
My mom and dad.
How's your dad?
I'm on, my dad.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mom. Now we need Miss Bowen. Mr. Water. Thanks, man. So we'll have these honors here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Awesome.
Nice job.
You can make that more comments.
Yeah, they are.
Do you guys need to get a fancy
And did you get your nameplates? You can take your nameplate and here.
Silver card.
I said they could take all this to college.
Put your name on your door.
All the activities.
Oh, yeah, we'll explain what that is. Board members, you got the fridge magnet buddy.
Yes.
So if you turn in the white one, you keep the green one. That's one of them, right?
Yes.
So thank you, Stephanie, for putting this together. I know we have a lot of dates for you to attend optional events, so.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Where do I send this back? See it.
Right at the top, the white one, just check anything at the top.
You don't have to do it right now. We can do it after. So the next item, is board member comment. Now, if you want to make that comment now, you can.
Stephanie, very nice. I appreciate it.
Just want to keep it in order.
I
Any
feel
other-
better, much better informed.
Any other board member comments? Anybody? Yes.
I was in New York when you guys were in New York, and I was at the Museum of Broadway at 9:30 check-in. And she said, well, you gotta get going real quick because there's a group of kids coming in. And I said, oh, maybe it's Antioch. Unfortunately, it wasn't. And I didn't see any of you guys. You know, I was walking around the streets and stuff. But I hope you had a good time. New York's one of my favorite places.
Really? Yeah. It
looked exciting from what I've seen from, my friends. A lot of them did go on the trip and they really enjoyed it.
Other comments from board members? Thoughts?
Just thank you to all of you. It's really nice to have you here. So thank you for, I can't imagine that this is the most exciting part of it. Thank you.
Thank you guys all.
We thank you very much. It's very, very, it's just awesome to see that you guys spend a little bit of time with us and also learn about the process. And then share what it's like being a student nowadays. We like that. Thank you.
And we will see you at graduation.
Oh, yes.
Any other comments? If not, next item on the agenda is a closed session. I would entertain a motion that the board enter into closed session for the purpose of discussing the following exceptions for the Open Meetings Act. The appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational or educational setting, or specific volunteers of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee. A specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or a volunteer of the public body, or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. However, a meeting to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee of the public body that is subject to the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with this act, which is Act 5 ILCS 120/2C1. Also in closed session will be student disciplinary cases, which falls under 5 ILCS 120/2C9. I would entertain that motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pagney,
Second?
second by Ms. Dixon. We'll do a roll call vote beginning with Ms. Pritchard.
Yes.
Ms. Jacobs.
Yes.
Ms. Dixon.
Yes.
Ms. Simpson.
Yes.
Mr. Pagney.
Yes.
Wayne Sopside votes yes, that motion passes. We will not have action after closed session other than adjournment. So we will now go into closed session.